Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It's Complete Farmer Live Webinar Day 2, and we are so excited to see everyone joining. Please tell us where you're joining from. Let us know where you're watching us from, so we also get interactive with you and connect with you as well. My name is Miriam Stianle, and I'll be your host for today's session. Yesterday's session was very interesting. We learned so much about crop rotation, the particular factors that we should pay attention to before we begin our journey. We learned about growing food for the export market. We had reps from JustStream who spoke to us about tapping into trading platforms and what to do next. We learned a lot from Complete Farmer, the team. We talked about secrets to increasing crop yield in a cost-effective way. And that was one of the interesting sessions because we still have people requesting for slides. And I want you to know that we'll have the recording and any other details pertaining to this event out soon. So visit our website, keep an eye out on our website, which is www.completefarmer.com. We'll have all the recordings there for you to access it. And today's session will exceed our expectations. I'm very excited because we are going to answer most of the questions that people had yesterday, from how to get finance for your farm startup, how to build an international agribusiness brand, and also how to match your buyer needs. People had issues with how to price your crops for the commodity market. People had issue with how to gain the particular funds that you need to move into other businesses to expand as well. So today's sessions are going to be very interesting, and I will encourage us all to stick from the very beginning to the end, because we'll have a raffle draw at the end of today's session. And this raffle draw is sponsored by our partners, that is Disengolf Ghana and EOS Data Analytics. We also have a rep from EOS Data Analytics who talked to us about how to incorporate technology into our farming. So most farmers in Africa are very rain dependent, but there's good news now. EOS will talk to us more about it in our coming session. And thank you all for joining us once again. Kindly note that today's raffle draw will take place at the end of the event, to stick and stay to the end. And I want to tell you briefly about our grower model. Yesterday, we talked a lot about how we assist farmers to increase their crop yield. That is what our grower model does. When you sign up to our grower model, our agronomy team gives you the support you need to assess your farmland, to know the kind of crops you should grow, and to provide you with the research information that you know. One thing that Kwashi talked about yesterday was how, as farmers, you should know the kind of soil you have and the kind of crop you should grow. So you don't just decide to grow a crop, but you should be able to match the land you have to the particular crop. And Kwashi Abe is one of the people who is in our agronomy team. He provides research assistance to our growers. So if you're a farmer and you are listening to me, sign up to our grower model. We'll assist you with our data-driven cultivation protocol. We'll connect you with buyers when you're done harvesting your produce, and we'll give you the needed support that you don't usually have. So sign up by visiting www.completefarmer.com or clicking on the link in our chat box. So we'll drop the link to our grower model in our chat box soon, so you can access that. Our buyer model too exists for buyers. So if you're a buyer watching us from Europe, from Africa, from wherever you are in the world, our buyer model is there for you. You can source commodities from wherever you are by partnering with us. So when you sign up to our buyer model, we are able to grow crops to your specifications and also handle the entire process, right from production to delivery. We provide a transparent process for you as a buyer, because we know buyers normally have issues with transparency, traceability, and these are things that Complete Farmer will pay attention to. So from production to their doorstep, Complete Farmer is handling it all. Please let me know what the expectations are for today's event. We'll be reading through to know what you think and what you expect. So let us know as well what you think, and visit our social media channels, Complete Farmer on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter as well. Tweet at us with the hashtag CFLIVEWEBINAR. So it's our Day 2 And I've seen people saying, and they know the expectations will be exceeded today. There are people joining us all the way from Volta region in Ghana. There are people joining us from Eastern region. We have people joining us from other parts of West Africa, and we are really excited for today's event. Our first session would focus on how to acquire funds for your farm startup. And we'll be having a rep from Absa Bank who'll be joining us soon to talk to us as farmers, how to brand your business, to put it in a position that will help you to acquire funds. Because before you decide to go to any financial institution to accept assistance, you have to make sure that your agribusiness is in the right position. So we are looking at you getting an idea of what the financial institution will be expecting from you. You get an idea of the kind of things, the kind of structures you have to put in place, before you can receive funding. We'll also be looking at financial models from Absa Bank that work. So Absa Bank will be talking to us about all the things that they've done with farmers, and we can't wait to host them. So they'll be joining us soon. We'll be having the head of agribusiness at Absa Bank. So I'm really excited because he has worked with so many agribusinesses and so many farmers. So if you're a farmer here, stay right here and he'll be with us soon. Oh, we have someone joining us from China. That's great. We have someone to join us from France, Malawi, Zambia, and Nigeria. And thank you for joining us once again. We hope even after this webinar, you stay with Complete Farmer. You can check us on all social media platforms. We post regular updates on what we are doing, what we are up to, and also learn more about us. You can visit our website, www.completefarmer.com, and you can sign up to any of our modules. So whilst we wait for our first guest to join us, please let me know what you thought of yesterday's session. I've received, there was someone who was very impressed about the talk on crop rotation, so thank you for that. We have people joining from Nigeria, Sierra Leone, someone joining from UK, and as we said earlier, this is an opportunity for you to network. So if you're a farmer here or you're someone looking to grow your agribusiness, this is a chance for you to network by connecting with other people through the chat, and also dropping your email address if you're having any challenge with any of our channels. Yeah, I can see more people joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us all. So our first guest will be joining us shortly. We are going to play a very short video that will tell you, we'll explain a few things about Complete Farmer in the video. So please watch. We are going to let you see some of our farms, the Complete Farmer team. I'm just one person in the team. It's a huge team from all over the world. So stay to watch the slideshow so you see our team and you see our farms as well. Please let us know if you have any questions. Drop them in the question and answer session, and I'll read them out to our experts as well. Thank you. Great. I can see we have so many people joining us again. So we are still waiting for, yes, our panelist is in now. Great. Hello, Mr. William.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Or it's gone into the afternoon now.
Yeah, it's already afternoon here. Great. I can see you're all set. That's great. So, sir, can you just tell us your name and what you do at Absa? Then you can just go on with the presentation.
All right. Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is William Nettey. I work with Absa Bank as the head agribusiness. I joined the bank about over 2 years ago, just to beef up the agribusiness desk. Absa recognizes agribusiness as one of the major sectors in our economy, and so we are dedicated as a bank to supporting agribusinesses from every level within the value chains to make sure that they can grow and thrive. They can become sustainable businesses going into the future. We see opportunities in all the businesses, and that is why we say that we work with you to bring your possibilities to life. All the things that you think about, we want to share those ideas with you, want to be there with you to grow. So basically, my role at Absa is to help groom agribusinesses to become big organizations. My director, Grace Enemiebua, who oversees all our business banking activities, would have loved to do this presentation. Being a lady, a mother, and a very supportive woman for agribusinesses and businesses in general, would have loved to be here, but to do the presentation, but something has taken her time, so I'm standing in for her, and she sends all her greetings, and greetings from Absa as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and we are happy to have you. So this session, I know this session is going to be about how to acquire farm startup, how to acquire capital for startup and operations. So you can just go on with your presentation, and for our guests joining us, please drop your questions in the Q&A box, and Mr. William will answer all of them. So sir, you can go on with the presentation. Thank you.
All right, so I want to take this opportunity to welcome everyone who is on the call. I want to say a big thank you for allowing us to come to you with what we do, and also to share ideas in creating businesses that would thrive and that would grow. So I would go along what I have, but if there are any ideas or any questions you have, you can post them, and then I would respond to them at the appropriate time. All right, so basically we are looking at how to support agribusinesses. How do we come by these agribusinesses? And we are Absa clear in our minds that we need to go out and identify these agribusinesses. We are very intentional about that. We go out to meet clients, and that's our model, identifying clients wherever they are, agribusinesses. We talk to youth groups, we talk to entrepreneurs, we talk to businesses that already grown, and all of those, just to make sure that we have a good client base. Then we look at how do we develop these clients. So what do they need, identifying their needs, making sure that we know exactly what their challenges are. And then we come back and then fashion a solution that will meet their needs. And so we look at what can we do? Is it training? Is it hand-holding? Is it mentoring? We look at all of those so that we'll give agribusinesses a complete support to be able to grow. Then once they are at a position that we analyze and we see that they are in a good position, then we can lend to them and then monitor along the way to make sure that the businesses are doing what they're supposed to do, they are growing, and eventually they become sustainable businesses. So I'll just go on to some of the areas that we see opportunity, and we see that young agribusiness entrepreneurs could go into, and how we can support them. So we look at the whole value chain of agriculture. And when we say value chain, I'll pull up the definition, and I'm sure some of you would know what it is: a set of activities FM or operates in within specific industries to deliver valuable products to the end consumer. So within the agribusiness space, we look at how from nothing, from bare land to inputs like seed and chemicals and fertilizer and organic chemicals and organic substances, organic fertilizers and stuff that can be put together, and then you begin to get your crops out of that. And then when the crops are up, what is the next move? So it goes to the traders or the aggregators, it goes to processors and all of that. So that forms the chain, and within this chain we have various actors playing. So I'll go back to my areas of financing that we think that entrepreneurs or agribusinesses can look at. Mechanization services. So they are the ones that provide mechanization. It will be maybe with a tractor, it will be with its implements, plows and other things, just to make sure that we get the land prepared very well and be able to plant. Then after that, we go into harvesting. So the mechanization, usually it's the production end and then the harvesting end, and also even along the life of the crop, where you do use them for fertilizer application, for spraying of various chemicals to control weeds and insects and all that. And then at the time of harvesting, you also need the mechanization to harvest it and then store. Then we go on to storage. So what are the storage financing that is needed? People would need warehouses, people would need storage bins within their premises or within where they work, so that they can store these commodities efficiently and then be able to sell them at premium prices. Then we go on to processing, where they will need equipment, from very simple equipment to more complicated ones. And we have worked with various clients who have come with various needs along these lines. We also see the need for warehouse receipt system, which usually is done by the Ghana's Commodity Exchange. They work with some of the clients we work with, Complete Farmer being one of them, to make sure that you can sell the produce that you have in a very good and efficient way. And then there's supply chain financing. I just heard the lady mentioning those who would want to work with Complete Farmer in various ways. Farmers who will be able to supply various commodities, the need for financing to be able to buy from you and to be able to even aggregate in that sense. So these are the kind of financing we come across as we go on. I'll be delving deeper into some of the areas. So yes, I mentioned the value chain. So I hope you can see the diagram showing the inputs, the suppliers, and then the farmers, then going on to aggregators in our settings, and then going on to retailers or wholesalers, and then it goes to the consumer. We see financing on the side, being a very important part of the chain. That is what sort of keeps the chain rolling and make everybody to benefit from their toils. And we've seen, you see the flow of commodity. Whilst commodity is flowing one way, financing is also flowing another way, just to make sure that the value chain is sustained. So a typical value chain, thing that we'll have is to have maybe the consumers placing an order with or buying from a wholesaler or a retailer, where the retailer is also buying from a wholesaler. This wholesaler would say that they need these commodities. So where can they source it from? They may go to a place like the GCX, the Ghana Commodity Exchange. Commodity Exchange would then talk to its members, one of which is Complete Farmer. Complete Farmer will then go out there and go and aggregate some of these or aggregate these commodities. And then in that sense, Complete Farmer will be dealing with the farmers at the lower level. And then these farmers who would have gotten the inputs from input dealers and then produce what is needed. So we can see that there's a correlation between all that is being done. And once there's a break in any part of the chain, there's a problem. The major thing that we've heard agribusinesses talk about is finance. We always need finance, and the finance is not coming. We will talk about that. So when we talk about value chains, we also look at the crops that are involved in or can be involved in the value chain. So some of the crops that we've dealt with and looking to deal with more in the coming years include soya. We all know that the north, there's a lot of production of soya in the northern part of Ghana. We produce a lot of maize. I think that our soya requirement in terms of what we consume and compared to what we produce is still very low. So there's opportunity there. Maize, we have indicated that we are self-sufficient, but if you look at the prices of maize that have increased by about 100% over the past few months, you would realize that there's a need to do more. So there are opportunities within these various crop value chains, and because there's also market, it gives the financial institutions the opportunity, or it gives them some kind of comfort that once these are produced, you don't have it sitting there and then it going waste. So various crop value chains, rice, soya, sorghum, which is used by the breweries for the production of malt and all that other products. It's also very essential. We know the export potential of the fruits, pineapple, mango, and a few other crops that we have. We've worked with, I mean, as a nation, we've even done well in developing them, but a lot more has to be done. And then the vegetables, we have the tomatoes and then the okra. And now what is coming up more also is the Asian vegetables, which is mainly for export. And most of these are very short term. So if you're an agribusiness or a young person and you want to go in, it's an area to look at. They come up really quick. Within a couple of months, 2 months, 3 months, you are done. You can then export or send it to your various markets and you are done. And then we look at the tree crops that have great potential. We all know about cocoa and how it has done over the years. Now people are looking for alternatives. So cashew is coming up great, strongly. Companies are exporting cashew. Others are exporting share and their derivatives. Okay. We identified that supporting these agribusinesses come with a lot of risk, and it is well known. It's known because when you look at agriculture, we are really dependent on rain and on the natural weather for most of it, which we need to move from. I'm sure maybe in your deliberations yesterday, as you talk about technology, you would have talked about irrigation and what it comes to do and how it helps with production. In some instances, you can produce twice, you can crop twice in the year. In some instances, you can crop 3 times in a year because there's a regular supply of water. So because of the risks associated with agriculture, we also have to work with various partners to ensure that we can support these businesses. We don't take it as one of those things where it's one of those businesses. We look at the risk involved and work with various partners. So I've listed a few of the partners. I've mentioned GCX, which is the exchange. And then we work with various partners who support us in various ways. So they give technical advice to these agribusinesses. They provide us with technical advice, even as a bank, to be able to go out there and then assess these businesses very well. We work also with MasterCard Foundation, and MasterCard Foundation is in partnership with us so that we can train some of the agribusinesses we work with, even at the lower level, the outgrower schemes that we have, not just training, but also handhold them and in some instances, even mentor them to be able to grow. So those are some of the benefits that we derive from these partners that we work with. And we know that going forward, as we identify more of them, we'll be able to lend and make agriculture big in this country. I've just showed a bit of the partners we work with and what they do. They provide technical training, technical assistance to us. GCX, I've mentioned about their warehouse where you can go out there, buy the commodities, put it in the GCX warehouse. Once they give you a receipt on that, we are able to work with them to lend to some of these businesses that work with GCX. We also have partners like MasterCard Foundation. I've mentioned the loan sizes that we do between 5,000 and then 300,000 USD to support agribusinesses and SMEs in general, and then Rural Development Fund too. That is the supports they provide to us. Okay, so I come down to what we as Absa offer, and what we offer is a secured loan and also unsecured loan. With a secured loan, we are talking about you being able to show us how well you have been able to grow your business and a trend that we can follow. So usually would ask for your audited financials if you have and all that, and then we can see your trend of growth, and then we build on that. You can, if you have some collateral, you come along with it to support what you are doing. But like I've indicated earlier, we are working with a lot of partners to make sure that we meet you halfway, even if you don't have every security that is required. Now, the unsecured is a very interesting one because it provides us with, financing when we don't have security. And what it means is that from our side, we need to see how your business is trending. So you start working with us, we identify, we look at your business performance, and based on that, we can give you some financing. As I mentioned earlier, with our process of going through this, I said we identify you, we train you, we build you up, we support you till we get to the point that lending can be made. So we don't just go out there and then identify anybody saying, oh, I have a business, and then immediately you are lending to them, because these monies that are to be given out, it's your money, it's my money. So we need to be very prudent and wise in giving it out. So we want to build the business to a point where it would be able to take such facilities. I mean, when you look at statistics, and it's been widely touted that businesses and agribusinesses as such go out of business early within their startup, because we do not really know the terrain. We are getting to know them and understand the terrain and all that. So at that point, we would want to help you by providing training. We do what we call SME clinics. We do various trainings. We come to even agribusinesses. Now, what we are doing is that we are linking up with what we call nucleus farmers or big aggregators who have outgrowers. Then we go out there, speak to them, train them, help them to be able to understand how to do their business, even at that level, so that they can also be able to aggregate, send it to the buyer, and then be able to make money out of their sweat. We also have what we call ESD, which is just enterprise supply chain. Once you are a small business, you are linked to a bigger business, like we talked about the Guineas, giving you a contract to supply them with maybe sorghum. We are able to look at that and then provide some financing to enable you do that supply. And we call that, it's a contract financing or enterprise supply chain development. And that's a product we have. We have various products. The trade products, we do overdraft, we do guarantees, we do letters of credit for businesses. We also provide commercial asset financing, where businesses can buy various assets, whether they are small assets or even bigger ones. We are able to support. So if you want a tractor, once we have worked with you to a point where we realize that you are able to access the facility, we give you a facility. You can buy a tractor, you can buy a sheller, you can buy anything within a small processor, anything within the agribusiness space that would keep your business growing. And then another area that we do is also project financing. If you are building a warehouse, if you are building a factory, we also would look at that. And we just don't look at it and then, come up with, okay, we've given you the money, pay it, every month. We look at the cycle, we look at the way that your payment is or comes in, so that we can structure something to meet your need. And another big part that we are looking at, and we'll be happy to hear more of you who are looking at going into, and that is the export financing, specifically those who are into exports of various crops. Now people are exporting soya, they're exporting cashew. We are also mindful that these crops have to be produced in good quantities, so that for those that we use in this country, we'll be able to get enough to use, and then some can be exported for us to show up foreign exchange for the nation. Okay, so I've been talking about when you have gotten to a certain point. I think I would drill in a bit more that. So when we are looking at a facility for you, would ask that you have a business profile that will show what you are doing, how you've done it for, who are the people involved. You give us just a snapshot of what your business has been since you started. And then you should have been in operation for 3 years. We say that, and I've given the reason that we have to come to a point where the business is stable. And if you are not there yet, we would be able to work with you hand in hand to be able to grow to that point where you can take a facility. So you then send us an application telling us what you need, the purpose, and how you think how it will be paid. You give us your cash flow showing how long it will, how long the facility will be for, and how it will be repaid, all showing in the cash flows. And then you give us statements from your previous banks, just to give us an idea of what has been happening with your business. And it gives us a sense. I mean, if you give us a 1 year, I think a 1 year statement would give us a full year's view of what you have done and that helps us to be clear how to support you, so that we know that in your business for maybe 2 months or 3 months, there's nothing that comes in the next 3 months, all your money coming in the next month, your income or your revenues go down. It all gives us a very good sense of how the business runs, and then we can also model something for you. And then if you have a contract, that will be great. I have mentioned these as requirements, and because they are requirements, they also have to be worked on, and those that you find challenges with, or there are challenges with, we are willing to work with entrepreneurs to be able to get this done. What we have is that we have consultants under the Mastercard Foundation program that can help you with building up your cash flows, your financials, and all those things that would help you to be ready for financing. So we are not saying that be ready on your own without any support, but if you come to us and you approach us and you need that support, we are able to work with partners to ensure that you can get that support. So some of the things the challenges that agribusinesses face, there's always an issue with collateral, and that is why we have talked about the unsecured lending. Let's go on and then see how we can. So I'll just run through quickly. We know the challenges, and the challenges are the reason why we come up with those requirements, and then some of the things, what motivates us to lend to agribusiness. So we should have risk mitigation, which we are dealing with partners. We should build capacity, and which we are also doing, where our capacity ourselves are being built through various partners, and then various ways that help us to do a bit more lending. So I would put it here, and then we can go through some questions if there are, and then we can proceed from there. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. You have a lot of questions to answer, and I must say your session, I've actually enjoyed the presentation, because I was thinking of venturing to agriculture and starting my own agribusiness, but the tips you've given me have definitely saved me a lot of money from consultation about the financial aspect. So we have a lot of questions for you. So I'll read through a few questions, then you answer them briefly. And someone wants to know if Absa is able to fund a startup in agribusiness, not necessarily the rising small scale.
Not necessarily.
A rising small scale. So is Absa able to fund startups in agribusiness?
I think I mentioned earlier that startup come with challenges, and I mean for myself, I think I should have started about 20 businesses by now, because every time there's a new idea that comes to mind that I think is great. It's going to progress, but we also need to test some of these ideas and then grow along and see how it fits into the whole economy and the environment in which we play. What you don't want to do is to put your money in something that will fail tomorrow. And if it's a debt, it becomes a problem. So what we advise, and what we actively, in some cases, work with you, is to also introduce you to other forms of financing. So there are areas that look at grants. There are USAID programs that look at grants. There are GIZ programs that look at grants. There are various partners that have grants to support your business. So we would, lead you along those lines. When you are starting up, some of the other ways of raising funds is even through people around you, people who will be patient with you. So you have your family, you have your friends, And then there are patient capitals that you can look at that gives you maybe a few years to be able to get to where you want to go. So with their funding, that doesn't come with the need to be paying in such quicker times. It allows you to grow and to build up. So what we will do if we think that the financing that they are requesting from us is not suitable, it's also to work with you to identify a more suitable financing. Then as you grow along, we'll be able to support you.
Great. Thank you very much for that. So because of our limited time, I'm going to combine some questions because most of them fall in place. So there's someone who wants to know, okay, this is for Complete Farmer. Will the slides and the recording be available? Please note that all recording from the webinar will be available on our website in some coming days. So please keep an eye out on our website, which is www.completefarmer.com. You get all the information from the webinars there. Yes. So Mr. William, please, someone wants to know if you have a specific sector in agribusiness the bank supports. Do you have any specific sectors? And do you also give loans to buy farmland?
Right. So the sectors, so the main sector is the agriculture sector. So we can look at the subsectors and then the various industries involved. I think that I mentioned a couple of the areas that we support. We generally support all those that I mentioned in terms of like the input dealers, the mechanization, going to projects and working capital needs. We support all of them. And then the various crops that we are able to support. And this is not exhaustive. There are other, so you can discuss with us and then we see the opportunity and we see how we can support you in that sense.
Great. Okay, so there are so many questions here for Mr. William. So I'll just end with this one and please keep your questions coming in. So what we'll do is we'll send the questions to Mr. William and he'll give us the answers to everything. And in the coming days, as I said, we'll have every information on our website. That is all your questions, your answers, and we'll also answer them on social media. So check our social media channels, which is Complete Farmer. All social media channels. We'll put some of the questions and answers there. So our final question is, please, how many months or year must a person be an account holder with Absa before he or she can get a loan to finance their agribusiness firm?
Okay, so let me answer this quickly in two ways. So like I talked about the secured facility that we have. With that, when you come to us, you come with all your documents. So you have audited financials, you have your cash flow, you have some security to back it. With that, we are able to assess and to see the trends in the business. And so with that, when you come to us within the next 3 months, we are able to work with you on that because there's some information. Once we analyze the information and we know that it is possible, we are even able, in some instances, with some clients, we are able to start you off without having a long-term, or some months of business with us. But it's also because we've been able to assess your business and we are certain that this business is on this growth trajectory. In the case where you are not and you don't have all those documentation, where we have to be building it gradually to get a view of how your business runs, then we say that within 6 months we'll be able to lend to you. So within those periods, we'll be doing training, we'll be doing handholding, we'll be working with you to formalize your business. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for that as well. I can see so many questions here. So we're wrapping up for our next session, and our next session is also going to answer most of your questions. So you have to stay. Our next session begins soon. And Mr. William Nettey, would be leaving us soon. Sir, thank you very much for everything you shared. We've learned so much about how to start our agribusiness, the financial aspect, which was one thing that was on the mind of many farmers. So thank you once again for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much. And we appreciate what you are doing, Complete Farmer, and all the participants. We know that you have great ideas. We want to work with you to see them come to pass. We want to bring your possibilities to life at Absa. So come join us and let's work together. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
You're welcome, sir. Yeah, and whilst Mr. William is leaving, please note that our grower model is live. So for some of the farmers on here who want to work with Complete Farmer to gain access to our data-driven cultivation protocol, Mr. William mentioned how Complete Farmer works with Absa as well. So we work with so many institutions that help us to give you the right support as a farmer. So please visit www.completefarmer.com to sign up as a grower, or click on the link in the chat box, which will lead you directly to our grower model for you to sign up. So thank you all for sending your questions. We'll quickly move into our second session.